Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler and his yellow jersey.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. Just doing swell here with a yellow jersey that for some reason is glitching out on a green screen.
I think it's because our background, for those in the YouTube watching, the background is yellow. So I think the computer thinks you're part of the background. I don't know.
No, it doesn't think anything different. I could watch balloons. Still working.
Okay. Never mind.
That was awesome, Todd.
Yeah.
Way to be on that.
All right. Back to smiles. There we go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Also with us, ladies, as you heard, Flesh Wound producer Todd. How you doing, Todd?
Chilling, I guess. Yeah. I'm just your head looks like it's grown 3 sizes since the last.
I know. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I restarted my computer, and when I booted up Chrome, it's like, hey, we need to show all of this.
Is it because you ended up coming back from a 1% chance of winning? Or...
Okay, you know what? The Yahoo Fantasy League, that's done. Sure, but in my sleeper league at 2:30 on Sunday afternoon, I had a 1% chance of winning my playoff matchup, and I came back to do it. And if anybody is wondering how that happened, in this week, week 15, I had Jalen Hurts, the Broncos defense, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They all produced after 2:30, and I ended up not only winning by 7 points, but scoring my highest point total of the year. And now I'm in the championship final. So,
but it's not like the 272 championship. Just to clarify, the one that you put a thing down. And it looks like you got an asterisk there.
I'm going to petition to Webster's that wet blanket. The term wet blanket be changed to Greg Larson.
Only for you, Ozzy. Only for you.
Now, before we get started, I actually did want to mention this. I was just at Target earlier today. Now, peeling back the curtain, we are recording this on December 21st, so Christmas is a few days away. And I was at Target.
So Ozzy's waiting the last minute.
Of course, right? So I'm at Target, and I get this item, and I ask the individual, the cashier, to double bag it, right? And it's like it's a pair of elephants, right? So they're like plush. So there's 2 of them. They're in a set. And I asked him to double bag it. And he looks at both of them and he puts them in the same bag. And then he gives me the bag. And I was like, no, double bag it. And he's like, oh, I thought you meant put them in the same bag. And I'm like, wow, okay. So then what
just
he does,
bagging it.
Then what he does is he takes one out of the bag and puts the other one in a. So I have 2. Oh my gosh! Right? I pick up the bag because then it's like I think, oh, okay. He put them in the same bag. He took one out of this one and put the other one in the bag, so that way I could just put it in there. And I mean, I know we haven't reviewed it in the future. It totally reminded me of The Fifth Element when Corbin Dallas is on the ship. And he's asking one of these other people for help by asking for a gun. The guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and he ends up throwing over like 2 magnetic balls or something like that. And like this dude and the look on that guy's face, like just genuinely thinking he was able to help out, and he felt proud a little bit. That was the exact same look on the cashier's face of like, yeah, double bagging. I got it. Oh boy. The Amazon generation, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now moving on to our review this week. We are reviewing the last 3 episodes of the short-lived Clerks animated series. Todd, you have a commercial spot available. Is that right?
Correct, sir.
Here we go.
Here we go. For the home video release, uncensored.
Uncensored.
Who's rated R?
But I love gatherings. Isn't it ironic?
Clerks was an instant underground classic.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
But nothing could prepare audiences for this.
Oh my God, I feel so nauseous.
Clerks. Uncensored. Now your favorite characters are in color and on video and DVD.
This isn't a TV show.
Now who's being naive?
With 4 never-before-seen episodes.
We're keeping it real, folks.
Check out Dante.
Maybe I can finally get some respect.
Randall,
Pretty sweet, huh?
and Jay and Silent Bob
You guys want to buy some fireworks?
at their hilarious best.
Why do you want to buy a monkey?
To teach it to smoke, duh.
Clerks Uncensored, now on video and DVD.
I like the cartoons. They make me laugh.
Peace out, homie.
Wait, so were only 2 episodes ever aired?
Yes, correct. The
Wow.
fourth one and the second one. And the second one is the one that's like, yeah, the first one, yeah, it's the whole thing.
I think because they started with the fourth one, that probably, which we're going to get into shortly.
They could have aired these in order, and I don't think it would have. I think America, and that's, I was like, yeah.
I think, no, but specifically the fourth one, like watching it, and we'll get into this shortly. Watching it in 2024 is very like, oh wow, like it's
The 90s
it's-
were different.
We'll get there in a second, but I just want to throw it here in case you missed our last episode where we covered episodes 1 through 3. The series did originally air on May 31st, the year 2000, based on characters created by Kevin Smith, and the show itself created by Kevin Smith, Scott Mosier, and David Bendel. This is episode 4 that we're going to get into, and the thing I like about these episodes is that they all have, well, at least the first 4 had long, extravagant titles, and this title was so long on the method that I was able to view this content. The title of the episode was so long it cut off, and all I was able to get was episode 4. Leonardo is caught in the grip of an outbreak of Randall's imagination ups, and that's all I got. So I'm thinking ups and downs. Not entirely sure, but Randall's imagination is a good.
I'm going to tell you
It's a
that
good teaser.
episode was very problematic because of how long the title was.
Mhm.
I can pull it up if you want the whole thing. If you want
Let's
to know.
go. Yes.
Okay, let's get this whole title. All right, let me just.
In the meantime, I can go ahead and open with this episode. That one thing that was hilarious. This is the first episode where the opening did not feature Dante waking up in a pile of clothes.
Mhm.
However, the next scene after the opening was that pile of clothes, which I thought was a great callback to
What episode is this one?
episode 4.
All right, and okay, it's the Leonardo is caught in the middle of
Yes.
okay. This is what I have for the full title. I don't know how far you got. Leonardo is caught in the grip of an outbreak of Randall's imagination. What is yours?
Okay. Ups. I don't know where the ups came from.
Oh,
I think I got the Canadian version.
maybe.
Probably. Like I got
But
the
yeah,
Japanese version of the Switch. I got the Canadian version of this TV show.
It's the Korean ending of that.
Oh man. Okay, so I apologize. I had an oil change this morning that I had to get done. So I watched this episode while I was having that oil change being done. I'm in the waiting room. I have headphones on, and there's 2 other people in the waiting room, so I couldn't laugh out loud because it would disturb people, because y'all know how I laugh. If it's not in the theater, it's not acceptable. So this is it's a very ADD like episode in the sense that how it goes from 0 to 100 with Jay slipping on some soda and then suing the quick stop, and then a courtroom scenes eventually happening, which basically served as a vehicle to try George Lucas and others. It seems for Randall, it seems the whole point of this trial was just so he could find out the questions that he just had in his life, which
I think it was more about getting the money back.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and I actually got confused. 5 had the long title that was too long that it screwed up everything.
oh,
Which
okay. I actually didn't see a title. For
I just
five.
sent it to you so you have it.
Okay. Okay, got it. Fantastic. Thank you.
That's
All
what I
right.
was like. I know 5 has a long title, so yeah.
So with how the episode played out, I mean, what I really liked is there's moments where there was almost like roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and you're sitting there thinking like, how is this going to end? And then it happens. I will say that I was writing down. I had notes, right? So this is the pad that I had, and I had the phone up here on my lap, and I was writing down some things. And once we got to the ending, I couldn't write here anymore because there is a pool of tears that I was laughing so hard during that ending. The people at the mechanic, they thought that I was watching something really sad or really funny, but I laughed so hard that I was holding it. I cried so much that it's still like it's as though I spilled water on here. I couldn't write on it. So that's why there's this open space right here where I would normally put notes for the next episode, but that had to go to the next page because I was laughing so hard for that ending. It's easy to say that ending's a favorite moment, I think, for you guys.
Oh,
Would you
yes.
say? I mean, that's but the fact that of how the episode was built in or constructed in terms of how the ending came to be, and almost to a sense that this is almost the only ending that they could have done that is satisfactory enough to be like, it's a cartoon, sure, but it went beyond that, which holy cow, unbelievable. But also fun to hear the talents of Judge Reinhold in this episode.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And even his dream sequence was fantastic.
The dream sequence segments of different individuals having the dream sequences was such a brilliant touch. And anything you guys have specifically that you'd like to note on? I mean, for me particularly, like that entire ending just was like that was it. It's almost like that ending was saved. Like, what if, just this like an episode of something like this could have been thought in the bank of somebody somewhere, whatever, that an ending just ends so randomly that as long as it's funny enough, people are okay with it. And I think that's what we got here, is that it was, the thinking was, this is so random and so out there. It's hysterical.
Oh, yeah. No, that ending was great. And I think what this cartoon does is it allows Kevin Smith's mind to just have fun and do all his Looney Tunes moments, which even more so we'll get into on episode 6. But like, there's a moment where Randall says one of the funniest comebacks that I got to experience throughout this series, and even I'd even say in a lot of the View Askew universe. Dante, he says a moment of like, you haven't passed the bar and this isn't Virginia. And Randall says, they don't know that. Like, the judge doesn't know where they're at or anything. He just, his blatant like inability to connect with the real world is so well done in this series. And I love what they've been able to do with this cartoon.
His character specifically shines in an environment like this, where you can also just zoom into what he's thinking and his characterizations of other people. Like, just that character is almost perfect for this type of universe or world. Todd, any thoughts here?
No, I don't agree with any of that. I think it was Disney just like botched this series from the start. It's funny to look back now because of the content, because it seems like hard to like really fit this in, and I think that's part of it. Like, I think it was a little bit more even for the time in 2000, but like, I get why Disney went with ABC went with this episode first, but it feels like it's later in the series. I think it was like, let's not shoot our load right out the gate, but they did, and then it's kind of like the other, like, it sets the tone for the series, and the other ones are kind of a little more grounded after that, and then it's kind of, you know what I mean? But
well, I think that if anything, Disney was like, We've got a lawsuit on our hands with this show, so let's just air this episode.
Yeah. So
I think this, out of all the six, this is definitely one that would be seen as the most out there, probably, and most extreme. So I think the thinking was, let's just put this out there, and that's like our border, and then because that's their best stuff, it'll die out after that. That's what I'm guessing, because if it was shown in succession and this was the fourth episode actually aired, it probably would have been received a little bit differently.
Well, they didn't give it any time to even attempt to grow. 2 episodes, you're not going to gain an audience. They're like,
right.
Like, did they think every Kevin Smith fan was going to watch? But you know what? Even if they did, the ratings back then, it probably wouldn't have made a blip. I mean, you have to think the Kevin Smith audience, they don't make millions of dollars. I mean, they make millions, but they don't make, they're not breaking any records. They make a certain amount of money and they're budgeted for that. And that's how they are. So even, trying to get everyone to attempt to watch a cartoon, I think they didn't give it enough time to grow to the casual viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's hard to say, but that ending might be one of my top favorite moments of the entire series. It's tough to say. It's definitely up there. But at this time, unless there's any other notes about this particular episode you'd like to say before we move on to the 5th episode.
No, let's go.
Which took place at a high school, opened at a high school reunion. Todd, what's the actual title of the episode?
Oh, okay. The one I sent you in Messenger? Okay.
Okay, yes. Hold on. No, let me get it.
No, I got it right here.
No, it's fine.
We've made a scene. Let Ozzy say it.
Okay, sorry.
No,
I mean, it's not like I didn't tell him that.
Whatever.
Letting the host. Sorry,
okay,
my bad.
That's not funny. My computer was having issues. Okay, season 1, episode 5. Dante and Randall and Jay and Silent Bob and a bunch of new characters and Lando take part in a whole bunch of movie parodies. And that it was.
Wait, was Lando in it?
Briefly. Wait.
Yeah, don't they go to his house for like 1 second?
Oh,
that's during the trial.
Oh.
Wait,
you know what? You know what, Ozzy? I'm sorry, and that's not even the full title. Oh no, it is. Yeah, it is. Sorry, I was. Never mind. Ignore me today.
Unproducer Todd.
I know. I'm just. Well, at least I got him the damn title, and it was right. I thought I left out a word, or did I?
It didn't seem like it. So this opens up at a 10-year high school reunion. And it combines the classes of 70, 80, and 90, and such a dark joke to open things up where you have class of 1980 grad night on a space shuttle. Oh boy, that is a lot to handle. Leonardo also being yes.
I was gonna think. You think Kevin would do that mean of a joke now? I think a lot of this is a lot meaner than he is now.
Going back to the trial episode. I don't think he would have done the WNBA joke.
Yeah, there's a few.
But I think this
dad not smoking pot, Kevin Smith. Yeah, there's a lot of things he wouldn't do.
Right.
Or make his daughter be the lead of it for some reason.
So you had a bunch of movie parodies in this, including Last Starfighter, Bad News Bears. But it was so out there, but still enjoyable to a certain degree because, as we mentioned, it is very much like Looney Tunes, and where we grew up on Looney Tunes, and we're accustomed to just seeing like sketches with all these characters. And while it seems random and out there and going from point A to point Z and just completely odd in how it connects, all it is that where the odd moments of connections are really just transitions to the next sketch featuring the characters that you all know, and that was just a way of presenting it. And the trial is first, like the episode 4 with the trial seems more of like it might be specific for that episode, because a trial you can have random things happen, calling witnesses and whatnot. or having a particular judge actually named Judge Reinhold and his name in the show be Judge Reinhold, fantastic. But here it is just very, how many movie parodies can we do in one episode? Almost,
Right.
which was great. uh so further along the episode, Randall is seen as, is believed to be the last man a woman could ever be with. And because she can't be with him, nobody else, right? And even so much so that his reputation precedes him. Somebody propositions him, and he's like, let's go to this closet, finds a video game, and goes at this arcade game. All of a sudden, a lesbian comes up, goes up to her, asks if she wants to get out of here. The girl says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but sure. And that's how it's revealed that he turns everybody. And
I took a little personal offense to that moment, just to say I love my video games, and look, it happens. Sometimes you get excited about a game, but it does not turn every woman lesbian.
Not everyone.
Exactly.
So this is where we see the plot of The Last Starfighter. Randall, this was a bricklaying game, a puzzle game, moving blocks, which I thought was a great joke about Last Starfighter in terms, he's then framed from moving blocks in the game to moving these blocks in real life to build a pyramid. And he's saying, these blocks are thousands of pounds. I can't do this. And it's kind of funny with The Last Starfighter. It's like, he can't fly a starship. He was just playing a video game. So it's that kind of humor hit really hard. I couldn't find his voice, but Bryan Cranston is credited with one of the voices provided in this episode. I couldn't hit it. In this particular episode, the part I had me reeling in laughter was seeing the message in a bottle go from point A and make its journey all the way, and its result of just throw it away. Like that almost had some more tears end up on the book there. Had to go back a little bit because I missed a few things. Anything of note from this episode you'd like to guys like to touch on?
I just thought it was interesting that, like, for one of the first times, it was actually Dante that, for the randomness of him stumbling upon rescuing Randall, it wasn't like he was the, one who orchestrated things, was the well thought out. It just kind of happenstance that he stumbled upon rescuing his friend, So it was fun to have him have that lucky moment, within everything.
And then, of course, with the tie-in of Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, always a crowd pleaser.
I was happy with that.
Which by the way, side note, since we're talking about games, the new Indiana Jones game is fantastic. And anyone who has not played it needs to give it a go.
And coming, well, this is not a video game show, not yet anyway, so we can't delve into that any further, I don't think.
You're more than welcome to. I'm just producing it. I'm just telling you now.
We'll get that when we do Flesh Wound Fist for Temple of Doom.
Oh, that's the next one. We got to do that. Oh, that's coming next year.
Yes. Sorry.
Maybe an early fist now. I'm ready.
Back to
grease it up. Where's the baby?
We're gonna get to the final episode, the last episode ever of Clerks.
And what was it called?
I had the title as Last Episode Ever.
There you go.
So opens up in a comic book convention. You had the stars of Clerks be invited to a panel. And what was great about this is it such the taking actual comments about the show and being able
was
to
it about the show or about the movie?
About the show, because it talks about how, like, you had these neckbeard type personalities talk about how the show is nothing like the movie. Like it's in color and there's no cursing, right? We want things to be more like the movie. And they talk about how from now on it's going to be more like the movie. And of course, the rest of the episode, they're in the shop the entire time while all this stuff is happening outside. And Jay to come in every 5 minutes and say, hey, it's awesome out there. It's almost like when if like if you were a parent and you had assigned a restriction or something for whatever stupid reason, and you told one of two kids, like a brother and a sister, that one of them can't go outside, and the sister or whatever the good one's like going in and out saying how awesome it is, like the one who was punished and not able to go outside would just look at the parent and be like, come on. Like, and I think in this instance, what a lot of people failed to realize is the reason they were stuck inside this location is because it was cheap. Like the fact that they had this budget allows it to go to all these places. And also,
You mean the nerds missed the point?
there you go. So the episode was basically felt like a mini episode of, well, like it took one aspect of the movie, specifically with Caitlin Bree, and you knew from the very beginning.
There was no necrophilia in this episode, so
okay,
it wasn't
well,
full
no,
Clerks movie.
as soon as you heard Dante talk about Caitlin, you're like, okay, this is with that opening. Okay, we get it. Fantastic, right? Later on, there is a photo that
I do have a question. Why the Spade hate? What's the Spade hate? Is there a Kevin Smith Spade feud I don't know about, Greg?
I don't know if he came, if they met and then he came off as a certain way.
I'd be shocked if he didn't, but that's the Spade personality. But I was just curious if you knew anything. Yeah, also, I forgot. One of us. I laughed so hard when we got that Freaks reference.
There is a photo that was advertising costume contest, and in the bottom in parentheses writes "No Darth Maul." That put me over the moon. I thought that was fantastic. Such a great adding line for that moment. But yeah, so the episode's pretty much just them in the store as a bunch of stuff is happening outside, like all the ridiculous stuff that you're seeing on the other show. And the actual voice
Neo bit too.
Sorry,
the running Neo bit was fantastic through the entire series or that episode.
Right. But the photo, unfortunately, I couldn't send it to Todd. Todd, if I send you a photo, you'd be able to put it up here, yeah?
Yeah, take a minute.
Because I thought there was a particular shot that when I saw it, I thought it was kind of telling in terms of, well, I'll pull it up here in a second. But any favorite moments from this episode while I get this up?
From this episode in particular? I mean, was one of us one of us was this episode. I also like the little thing from the Fraser stole this device for the screen flash. I was like, yeah. Well, yeah, it was for the screen flashes, but I thought that was kind of brilliant to throw that little dig in because they kind of did. All right,
I just sent that photo to you, so if you'd be able to throw it up,
I am going to throw it up,
and
sir.
then I'd love to talk about this as it's up.
Right.
There were some great moments within this. Like I do want to talk about the bit where he says, "Did it ever occur to you that I would have a date?" And Randall's comment of "with your folks." Ew. Like that bit was fantastic. And I want to say there's a moment at the end, I'm gonna guess was one of Ozzy's favorite bits, considering what this series was, and it was an animation choice. I thought that's actually what you were going to pull up here, but
well, what I wanted to pull up here specifically is that obviously the two individuals on the couch. Now, if you're listening on the audio version, I pray that you check out our YouTube episode, Flesh Wound Features, specifically for this clip, because we're looking at on the couch. We see in a couple of individuals that resemble what would be Kevin Smith and Scott Mosier, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Kevin Smith doppelganger, for lack of a better term, is reading the Bible. Scott Mosier's character is reading comics. We see an individual who's asleep, and then another who is on, we have to think, this is 2000. So is that like a Palm Pilot, you think?
Yeah.
99. Yeah. And this joke was mentioned when they talked about the writer's room. So this was their writer's room of Clerks. So, and then lastly is the individual in the middle that has a book. He's holding a book that says How to Write Cartoons. It says by Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
So I think
Brilliant.
this shot here is like a perfect like way for Kevin Smith to be like, this is what it was like.
Yeah.
You know, and then they, you know, the guy in the middle just talks about adding more gay jokes. Like and then for them to add in that commentary of what is with all these gay jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they knew it was the last episode, so go out in a bang. Like, I mean, it wasn't aired, so if you have an
Well,
opportunity,
no, you have to figure they all 6 were done by the time they were given to HBO, Disney. So I think at the time they even knew this is probably going to be.
They knew.
We're not going to get we're not going to get a season 2.
Yeah.
So, and if they did, they could have. Yeah, it would have been fine, but they knew.
So, yeah, I just wanted to share the photo.
I'm surprised the photo you didn't want to show. I mean, that is fantastic and obviously something that needs a little bit more analysis, like to really deep dive into what that photo is. But I could have sworn the picture you're going to bring up was the one where Randall was basically turned into Daffy Duck.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it
No,
really
when that was
encapsulated the
happening,
Looney Tunes of
it was
all.
just like such a great like callback to that whole thing
Mhm.
and that whole moment. But
I have a
that
question. No, finish your thoughts.
Yeah.
Come to me after.
I when I saw that as a moment, I was like, oh, that's a great moment of the show. But that
Mhm.
photo I want to share is like kind of like telling as to like that's almost like a message in a bottle, so to speak.
Right.
You know. So sorry, go ahead, Todd.
I know you love animation, Ozzy. What are your thoughts on the new Looney Tunes movie that's coming out with Daffy Duck?
How long is it?
Well, I'm sure it's not 12 minutes, Ozzy. I'm sure it's
If
feature length.
if it's 90 minutes or less, it's fine.
Oh, so now you've gone up in time. You used
What do
to
you
say
mean?
Yeah,
no, you used to say 22 minutes.
Oh,
You
did-
gave him a
Yeah,
half.
90 minutes was comedies in general, but
Yeah, it was not
animation,
animation.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. No, 22 minutes is a lot. Because
But
after the 22nd minute, I
But
think
you
people are
watched
tired
3 of these in a row, didn't you?
with breaks in between.
No. Okay, well. Oh, sorry, my bad. Ozzy needs
Sorry.
commercials.
But I will say now I will say this because my oil change was done as I was in the middle of the 5th episode.
Mhm.
And when I was on my way home, I didn't put on the radio. I didn't put on rather any music or any podcasts like that. My brain was still stuck in this story and I didn't want to distract myself with anything else. It just wanted to stay bookmarked on that story and just would wait until I was able to finish it before I would consume anything else because I was so like locked into that story. But I think the fact that it was broken up into 3 separate, you know, just 3 separate sections, like it's not just one continuous movie. But if it was one continuous movie, I think by about like 20-25 minutes, I'd want to check out. So
Makes sense.
So
I mean,
many
it
great
doesn't, but it
animated
makes for
films,
Ozzy
though.
Barger.
I will say there's some Harley Quinn episodes on Max that
They were 30
sometimes hit
minutes?
like 30-minute mark, and that's okay because it's comic book stuff. So
I hate Ozzy rules. I can't keep up with them all.
They don't
I know.
make sense.
And then they
no, they make
change all the
perfect
time.
sense. They don't change all the time.
90
All the
minutes,
time,
Ozzy.
but
You just said
often.
90
I know
minutes.
I was wrong because I forgot what I had said.
You were wrong. Too. Oh, well, there. At least we got that.
It's the first time I've ever heard that.
I was yeah.
You were
okay.
wrong, Ozzy. It's okay. We got it. You were wrong.
Mm,
Ozzy was wrong.
you know what else is wrong? 2-hour animated movies. That's wrong.
Yeah, I've never had a problem. Ozzy used to.
I don't want.
Ozzy used to have a fit in class when they wanted to show Charlotte's Web. That's why he hates long animated movies. He's like, they make me cry. F this.
Secret of Nim disturbed him.
I am not watching animated films or chasing Amy. Get away from me.
God,
God, I hope we get an animated chasing me.
Let's
That would
not
be
get carried
great.
away. Let's not get carried away. However, that pretty much concludes our recap of the 6 episodes. It's tough to give the series a rating as a whole because we're used to giving out ratings for movies, and it really depends on how. Like, this is for a very niche crowd.
If you're a View Askew Universe fan, you're gonna have a great time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you're a View Askew fan, that's okay having fun. You're gonna have a good time. If you're a View
So
Askew fan,
Ozzy's saying if you like,
could you
shitty
just let me
movies-
finish a thought?
Fine.
What I was gonna say is, if you're a View Askew fan and
So
you just want to have
here's the
fun,
thing about
oh my
like,
freaking gosh!
yes, Ozzy.
Floor's yours.
I almost want you guys to mute yourselves before I continue.
You almost want, but you're not getting it. We're listening. You got the floor,
Okay.
Ozzy.
Now, I had said if you're a View Askew fan and want to have fun, you're gonna be fine. But if you're a View Askew Universe fan and would want things to make a little bit of sense, you're gonna be disappointed because that's not what this is. This is all about good times with the characters that have been created, putting them in a cartoon universe and just having some fun.
Yeah, it's Looney Tunes with the characters, not the storytelling long format that you expect.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it does not just take place in the quick stop, except for the last episode because people complained.
I grew up on like cartoons that made no sense. So yeah, like the Jackson 5 cartoon had nothing to do with real life Jacksons. Like Joe wasn't beating them in the episodes or anything like that. So I'm okay with animation is different than like, live action.
Oh, it's funny. All right. Well, so as I said, it's difficult to give out rating, but what I had mentioned about if you're just looking for a good time, you're gonna have fun, it's thumbs up. If you're looking for something that makes a little bit more sense, a little bit more depth, not so much. Fair assessment. Would you guys have anything you'd want to add to that?
No, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
If you're in for a good time, you're gonna get it. That's for sure.
All righty, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our recap of the Clerks animated series episodes 1 through 6. The 4 through 6 on this episode, 1 through 3 on the last. Feel free to check that out. It is up. Feel free to join us next week for a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce. We will be reviewing a feature-length film, so be sure to check that out. And
Hopefully animated.
let's not get carried away. We just had 2 weeks in a row of all animation. We need a break.
We need okay. Before we we can do that new Lord of the Rings cartoon. You'll love that. Ozzy.
Can we
Things like
actually how
like
about
2.5
right now,
hours?
Let me just plug trivia real quick, okay?
Do that,
Ladies
do
and
that.
gentlemen, if you're in the Orange County area, I will be hosting trivia this week, this Tuesday at the Lake Forest Rush Bar and Grill, beginning at 7 o'clock, also at the brewery in Placentia, beginning at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. Both are free to play and prizes for the top winning teams. Feel free to come on out. Now, Todd, what garbage were you babbling on about?
I don't remember.
Good. All right, Greg, you have anything before we need to head out?
Good.
I remember now. It was that I'm going to
Oh,
make Ozzy watch that 2-3 hour Lord of the Rings cartoon that just came out.
Why?
I'm kidding. I don't want to
Anyway.
watch that either.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
You're
Greg, you
good.
have anything?
No, I'm good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, for world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.